We saw very interesting demos, but I'm curious, Matt. So, from all the features included in Visual Studio 2022, is there any coming from requests from users?
Yeah, a lot of them are, in fact, coming from users because inside Visual Studio, you can go to the help menu and then send feedback. And you can ask for features there, and people have. And so we have over 100 feature requests in Visual Studio 2022. And there's really cool stuff for personalization or customization, because it turns out that people really, really want to make Visual Studio their own. And they want to decide, what theme to use, like color theme and font sizes, and also the font types. We have some new things like color tabs that colorizes based on project, and other things that comes directly from feature requests by users. And so that's very, very cool. There's over 100, as I mentioned, and there's a lot of votes. People have really voted for a lot of these things, so it's great to see a whole bunch of things that makes personalization easier in Visual Studio.
Oh, that's awesome. You know what? We'll have in the show notes the link where people can make sure to understand and vote and see all the feature. But tell me more. So do we have new themes? What are the colors or like the themes we have right now?
Yeah, so we have a brand new dark theme. So we've had the dark theme for quite a while, but in Visual Studio 2022, we now have a new one that looks super crisp. I really, really like it. So now we have out of the box, there's the light theme, the blue theme, and the dark theme.
Okay.
But there's a whole bunch of themes available out there, and we made it much easier for you to install and select the themes, but also how to create the themes. So as a brand new thing, we have a way to convert any Visual Studio Code theme to Visual Studio.
Oh my God. Okay, and I'm guessing now you will be showing us exactly that.
Yes, let's take a look.
Love it. Let's have a look.
So the first thing we want to do is that we want to open our extension dialog here to make sure that we have a new extension called Extensibility Essentials. This is an extension that helps us write extensions, and that's exactly what we want to do today. We want to write an extension that has a theme in it that we can share with everybody else by putting it on the marketplace so others can download and install it. So we want to make sure we have Extensibility Essentials. And then we're just going to create a new project. And I'm just going to search for the word V6. And I'm going to create an empty V6 project. And this is going to contain a theme from VS Code. And if we go to VS Code, I got a theme installed here called the GitHub theme. And actually it contains a few different ones. One of them is called GitHub Dark. So that's what I want to call so GitHub Dark theme. That's what I want to call my project here. So that's it. It's a very simple little project. Now, back to VS Code. What I can do is that I can, when I've enabled the theme that I want, in this case, the GitHub theme, I can go to the command palette and invoke the command for generate color theme from current settings. I'm going to click that, and that's going to give me a very, very large JSON file. And I'm going to save this straight into here. We're going to give it the name. I'm going to put it into on the file system to where my Visual Studio extension project I just created is. And we're going to call it GitHub Dark. Let's save that. So now going back to Visual Studio, I can show all files here, and we can now see we got the GitHub Dark showing up. I'm going to right click and say include in project. Now that's going to take a little longer here than it normally does, because what happens is that automatically, from using that extension called Extensibility Essentials that I just mentioned, it will automatically recognize that this is a theme file, and then it will produce the Visual Studio version of that. And let's just take a look. This is not exactly JSON, right? There's no way you can really write this by hand. So that extension brings in a tool that can convert the JSON file to what's called a package.def file that Visual Studio understands. And now all we have to do is to open our manifest file. This is where we have our sort of metadata around our extension here.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to make sure it has a good name. We can say that description could be a port of the popular GitHub Dark theme for Visual Studio Code, right? So I want to make sure that has a good description, a good title. And then all I have to do is to include this file that was generated. It's called a VS package. Include a new VS package, point to a file in the file system, and it already found the package.def file here. So I'm just going to say OK to that. And that's it. So I can now run this hitting F5, or I'm going to hit Control F5. I don't really need the debugger for that. And so now we're actually spinning up a Visual Studio extension by first compiling it and then opening a new instance of Visual Studio. That happens automatically as part of the build process here. So Visual Studio starts up. It already has the extension that we're building here installed. And I can now go in to the Tools menu and see we now have a theme fly out here under the Tools menu. And I can select GitHub Dark. So let's go ahead and do that. And boom, there it is.
And boom, voila, awesome. That and I was expecting a little bit more work. It's super easy.
It's super easy. And then you just go in afterwards, open your bin directory here, and you can see you have a file called a .v6 file. That is your extension. You can now take that file and you can upload that, go to the marketplace.visualstudio.com and publish that for everyone to use.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yep.
And I'm sure people will have tons of questions. So you know what? Let's go see the chat and answer those questions.
Sounds good.